All right, guys, welcome to your rites of passage. At this time, we are going to look back on our past house guests and just kind of say like our final thoughts on them before we get into the last round of this game. So, with that being said, I am going to share my screen over here for you guys. And you guys will set the pace for this. I'm just here to press next on there.
Oh,
And
look at us.
there you are, the three of y'all.
This is a hot final three.
I love it.
So, we are going to get started. You guys can go in any order you want. Just make sure everyone has their fair turn. Let's get started with Rachel.
Fun fact, I actually met Rachel in person when I was in Orlando in July. So I was really excited to see her on the season. And I was very sad that she went up the first round and then was kind of like not really there. Because I was like, I don't really recognize anybody in this cast. So at least I like have seen her somewhere before. Um, but yeah, she's a lovely girl, and I was very happy to see her in the cast and sad to see her go so soon.
She was so sweet. Like we didn't get to talk very much, kind of thing, but man, every conversation we had was just she was super sweet. She actually seemed like just like a genuinely good person.
I agree with everything said above. I wish we could have had more time to get to know her because she seemed like she would have brought such an iconic like presence to the game. Um, and so yeah, I hope that all of us get to talk after this and we get to know her better because she seems super sweet.
Up next for 17th, Sarah.
I loved her on Jackbox the first few nights, kind of thing. She was so funny, like underrated funny.
She had a really great wit to her, and it was like you didn't even have to see her thinking, and it felt like a Bianca Del Rio like Rolodex of shit to say type thing. And I was like, you are so smart.
She was ready with that response, like ready.
I knew like of Sarah from back in the day, but I didn't know Sarah. Um, but yeah, she was funny. We on the one-on-one talks that we did have, she seems super nice as well. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, she was another that like I wish had didn't have as much life stuff going on, so would have been able to be here more and talk to people, so we could have gotten to know her better. But unfortunately, like that's the way that it went.
Up next, Andrew.
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 He was a beast of a competitor. Like if he would have stayed in the game, like he probably would be close to comp beast kind of thing. I truly think he was going to be a powerhouse.
Mhm. Yeah, and he was smart too in the way that he like said things. I think he was just a little too eager to jump in with both feet when not as many people were ready because there were a lot of new people to Big Brother in this game who were still trying to find their footing in round one, two, three. Um, but I love things that we did get to have before he went. He was a really nice guy.
I think he was super smart. Like he knew the dynamic. I mean, he didn't know all the dynamics, but he got a good portion of the dynamics right. And
Hmm.
he wasn't even involved in a lot of groups. So like that's impressive in itself, especially as early on as he clocked a lot of the stuff that was going on. Um, super nice guy though. And I hope we get to talk again after this.
Do you remember how stressful it was whenever there was supposed to be a house caller? It's just like, oh
We were all just
no.
waiting for it.
Oh, he is about to clock me.
Oh God.
I'm Andrew. I want you to know I'm so happy you didn't call that meeting.
Joe, we were all shaking in our boots a little bit.
Hmm.
Up next in 15th, and the first member of our jury, Laura.
Laura.
Laura was so to play Jackbox at all times, and it was lovely because after she left, Jackbox kind of died. I'm not gonna lie.
It did 100% die.
Hmm. I appreciate about Laura that she's probably one of the nicest people on this cast.
Hmm.
And that's one thing I always appreciated about her because she always talks in conversation with such grace. And I love that. And I like that Laura also put the rumor to bed about Chuck E. Cheese and how the pizzas are just pieced together.
Period.
So
No,
I'm glad we know the truth.
I'll tell you that she was a competitor too. Like she was good at every single thing she did. Like,
Hmm.
like she was in it. If she would have stayed in a little bit longer, she'd have been something dangerous.
Yeah, I think she would have been late jury if she hadn't gone when she did.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And for her first time ever playing an on-camera game, like that's impressive to have that footprint that early, kind of thing.
I
Mhm.
fully agree.
Up next is going to be Hudson.
I miss Hudson.
I so miss Hudson.
The thing was, his walk was so like weirdly bittersweet because like it saved me from the block, but also like one of my close friends and allies was like leaving the game, and honestly, I just like hope that he's doing okay, and I want to talk to him and check in on him after the season's over.
I freaking loved Hudson. Like I hated watching Hudson go right then. Uh like
Because he
I
wouldn't
wanted
have. He was not at all probably going to go. I think all three of us were planning on saving him with the
I
veto
think
that
Hudson would have
round.
got a vote. I honestly don't think Hudson would have got a vote. But it's just like he was to the point where I want to watch the movies he produced back. Like he was just such a genuine dude. Like I love Hudson.
Mhm.
Gone too soon.
I mirror all the things y'all said. My calls with Hudson were the vibes were just so immaculate, and literally like he's so much more funny than he gives himself credit for, and
And
he,
so easy to talk to.
yes, like even like vent about life or vent about how he's doing in the coffee shop or um anything. Like it's just the conversations with him flowed very easily, and that's what I liked so much about him. And I hope we get to be friends after this season because he truly is an
Great.
icon. Mhm.
Hmm.
Agree.
Up next, and I believe the second member of the jury, Susie.
Oh,
Off that
Susie.
NASA internet speed right there. Like Susie was unbeatable in that competition. I had a plate of nachos in front of me. They said cheese. I took the picture and she ran to the kitchen and posed with cheese first. Like, how the hell does she beat me in
There
that?
was there was six of us in that group chat keeping track of how many fucking points she had and how many we were losing to her by like 2 seconds.
I, I stayed up till 6 a.m. to try to catch up with her, and I got one piece of bread at 4 o'clock in the morning. And it was just like, well, she's back. Good job, Susie.
I swear she had one of every item. There is no way she has more items than a local department store girl. She like I was so impressed with how fast she was able to get all those in. And not to mention, Susie is probably one of the funniest people this season.
Died
And
back in the season.
honestly, I feel like was one of the people who left this game with the most grace in her exit and like was so positive and like cheery the whole time, no matter what. And she was so kind and she loved everybody from what the energy that she gave us, and I loved that.
I fully agree.
So it was live night when she went, and I will tell you this, like up till, I mean, even whenever she was convinced after those years and stuff, whenever she got like 35 years or whatever it was, like she never quit fighting for it. Like she never quit pitching, and I was just like, get it. Like I can't, but girl, I like respect for you.
She was in the breakout room with Steve and I for literally almost the entirety of the time we were given. And she was pitching to Steve, pitching to Steve, pitching to Steve. And I was just sitting back like, yes, you pitched to Steve, girl.
Put that evil crown on my head.
All right, up next in 12th place is Noah.
Dude was a beast. How many comps did Noah win? Like 2 in the he was. Yeah, 3 actually with the battle back. Ridiculous in competitions, and probably deserves another HOH the very first week of the music videos because they killed that music video.
Mm-hmm. I agree. The music video, they absolutely fucking nailed putting that shit together. Like that turned out so good, and I was so impressed. But yeah, I think that Noah and I left on pretty okay terms. So I'm glad that we're able to move on and better outside the game, better ourselves outside the game too. And all of us just try to make everybody happier in general. And so I think that we ended on pretty good terms. So I do hope that we get to talk more out of this game and maybe even build a friendship.
Yeah, I think that there was a part, like, especially towards the end, where just the game stress got to them. And, but before, like, that part of the game, me and Noah had some pretty great conversations because we're from the same places and we grew up in the same areas. So it was nice meeting somebody that, like, understands where I come from and where I like grew up and stuff. So I loved getting to chat with them about that. Um, yeah.
Next, our third member of the jury, Haley.
Queen.
Haley girl.
Haley was robbed. If Haley doesn't get most robbed juror, I don't know.
She does deserve it. Like she was so quiet at first, like so quiet. And I finally was just like, Haley, you have to start talking. Like, no, start speaking, 25-word minimum kind of thing. And she did, and the evil Haley came out. Like she came out of her shell.
Haley.
Like I love evil Haley.
Oh, Hellraiser Haley came out to play, and it was so fun. And like she was so good at talking to people.
Oh yeah. Talk about a loyal alliance member too. Like I knew Haley had my back. No questions asked.
But she also wasn't afraid to go out there to people that were outside of the alliance and be that villain. I don't even know if villain is the right word, but she was not afraid to be a little evil and with the people that were not involved with the cruise crew. And that's what I loved about her. And she was so sassy, but so sweet at the same time. And I enjoyed Haley a lot. And we connected a lot on a personal level. And I think that she's a great person.
I feel like the cruise crew really wouldn't have worked as well if it did without Haley. I feel like she was really a driving force in us being able to maintain majority and control throughout the early part of the game.
And her departure from the game was so sad.
Shocking.
And on to our next juror, Nick.
Nick should be 12. No, I'm playing. No, Nick had. I can't say enough about Nick's game. Like Nick was playing such that like subtle game. Like whenever he had the punishments at the very beginning, like he was joking and making people like be a part of his punishments with him. Like that's such a genius subconscious level game. Like that. It next level. And created the Bottoms Alliance. That way they could help us. Like just iconic. I should have gotten a higher placement than they did too.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Nick was in a great position up until the round that you and him were on the block together. And then it just came down to like you having more people in your corner at that time. But I loved like when the four of us made our chat with Nick. I loved sitting on that fucking call and just shitting around with you guys because it was so fucking stupid, and we're all kind of nasty and cunty, and it just works well. And so I miss Nick. I love him.
Play off each other well. I love Nick.
I don't think Nick realizes how impressive of a game that he played. Like the very beginning of this game, we can't forget that he was in the bottom of the people mover time and time again, and he bounced himself up and put himself in a really good position. So I think he needs to give himself more credit as well. Honestly, truly one of my best friends coming out of this season. I felt immaculate vibes coming from him like day one. We called night one and we sat on call for a while. Like I love Nick so much, and I'm glad that, I mean, obviously us four are still going to be friends outside of this. We've created a really strong bond, and Mackie Poo. So I'm really grateful for this game, for creating the friendships that we've all created.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Up next is everybody's favorite man from Germany, Fabi.
Bobby, from the bottom of my heart, I do not know how you did it. I don't know how you did it. And to play under the radar for as long as they did with that many comp wins, like absolutely killed it. It wasn't until I think it was Haley's eviction before it was just like, wait, do you guys know Bobby has the exact same number of wins as everyone else? Like, I don't remember who said that, but it was just like, oh my goodness, Bobby is killing it.
And it was just impressive how well he was able to hide underneath the radar. Like he was a good player in that aspect. And I think that he was also a really fun person to get to know. The vodka king.
The vodka wine king.
The fucking sleep deprived king. But he honestly is such a sweetheart, and I'm glad that he was in this game because he definitely put an imprint on it.
Very early on in the game, I was like, I don't know about Fabi. I just don't get much from him. Like, maybe I just need to try to like reach out to him more or something. And so I tried to, and I'm very glad that I did because I loved chatting with Fabi towards the end of the game, like once we started talking more. And he had so much commitment to this game that I would never have. I would never be able to stay up until 6 o'clock in the morning for like fucking ceremonies and evictions and shit. No, no, no. And he was a fucking comp beast. Like getting him out was not an easy task. We'd been talking about it for rounds.
Once we realized that he was just like, oh my gosh, we gotta get Bobby gone.
Fun fact about Fabi, he's the only person on the cast who won all 4 types of competitions.
Period.
Snaps and claps for Bobby.
On to our next juror, we have Michael.
Man, I knew him and Nick were close from jump kind of thing. And so like I felt like I needed to be on Michael's good side from go. And he actually knows what he's talking about. Like he was really smart, really well connected on the inside.
See, I did not have that experience with Michael, and I don't know if it was something that I did or if he just saw me as too much of a threat, maybe from what I heard through the grapevine. But like, we never really talked all that much, so I didn't get to know him. But I'm hopeful that I'll get to know him post season because like he was funny on the Zooms and stuff. We just didn't get to talk that much.
I really love Michael. he truly he is another one of those people that are very sweet and kind and sassy as fuck, but that's what we love. And so I really enjoyed getting to know Michael and talking to him throughout this game. And I think people underestimated Michael. He was the silent but deadly one. If he made it much further, I think that he could have made it pretty close to the end.
And that's why I sent him up.
So the thing about Michael, like he was really close with Nick, was really close with Haley, was really close with Megan, was really close with Cody at the end, had an alliance with myself, Nick, and Blake for a large portion of the beginning of the game. Like Michael was well connected in the game, and it was getting scary because Michael was well connected with everyone who was left in the game. And so like that's why Michael was so dangerous when he was dangerous.
On to our next competitor, Elizabeth.
I love Liz. We bonded over theater so much, and then also like psychology things, and I felt like we shared of the very same energy, and it was really nice. And she was always so sweet at all times. And I'm never gonna forget though the fucking running across the screen back and forth for that fucking spelling competition, because that is imprinted in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
And she has the iconic line of the season, like the most iconic line of the entire season.
Period.
I forgot about racism for a second. No, like Liz was amazing. Liz was absolutely amazing. And actually her intro video, whenever she was talking about, I got a bunch of eclectic tastes like ghosts and Halloween and stuff like that. I was just like, holy shit, I actually I want to talk to her because I have a bunch of that kind of crap too. And so like she was the person on night one that I wanted to talk to more than any.
Oh gosh, I too relate to Jeremy when they said that they related to Liz over theater. I loved getting to talk to Liz about theater, and we basically already determined that we're going to get an org meetup together and go to a theater. So, or a musical. So I'm super excited for that, and I hope it happens. I loved chatting with Liz. I think that she was a really sweet girl. I also think that she was another one of those that if she would have gotten much further, she could have became a force to be reckoned with in the end of this game.
Up next, we have our 6th place finisher, Cody.
Cody, I love Cody to absolute death. In this game, he was the biggest thorn in my ass throughout the entire season. So I love him to fucking death, and I love chatting with him. He's so fucking funny. And on our Jackbox nights, he was always hosting, and he was always down to host. And he was so great to have around. And he was so fucking hard to get out of this game.
Cody was the person that I was the most afraid of. I genuinely thought that if anyone in this game is going to single-handedly take control of the entire game, it's Cody. And that was a threat that I couldn't let go of. And it was just like, no, like Cody's getting closer and closer to the end. And every single time they need to win a comp, they've won this comp. And it's just like they are down to what, 2 HOHs and a veto away from the finale. Yeah, Cody's got to go.
I feel like I have a little bit of a different turn of the coin than y'all did with Cody. I absolutely fucking loved Cody, and I loved bonding with Cody in this game. And I would say Cody was, outside of the three of us, somebody who I felt closest with on like a personal level and on a game level in some aspects. But Cody was definitely the biggest threat in this game, one of the biggest threats. And I think that if we did not shoot the shot right then and there, it would have ended very badly. So I'm glad that Cody worked with us. I'm glad Cody was a part of the season, because if Cody didn't pull off that move at Final 11 when Haley went, then I don't know what the end game would have looked like. So I think that he played a lot bigger of a role in the season than he also gives him credit for, or gives himself credit for. So good game, Cody. Honestly, one of the best
Yeah.
players this season.
Definitely. Like, absolutely one of the best players this season.
On to our next member, Megan.
Megan messaged me on night one because I just got done playing Triumph and her husband was on there. And she messaged me on night one and we just hit it off instantly. And we never formed an alliance. We never, like, there was never an official anything. I just knew she had my back and I had hers. Like, Megan, like, it was just such an unspoken thing. And she was such a sweet, sweet girl. Like, she dominated that softball team as the pitcher. Like, she's just such an incredible competitor. I can't say enough about Megan.
I absolutely agree as well. Damn.
Steve Girl, I think it's your echo.
Is it my echo?
I think so.
We cracked the code.
Now it's gone.
But no, Megan is probably Miss Congeniality, if there was such a thing in this season. She truly cared about everybody. You could tell this game was really hard on her because she genuinely cared about every single person in this game, especially towards the end. Because everybody, you just talk to Megan and you immediately fall in love with her. Like, she just has those vibes. She just has, she has care for everybody. And those people are not people that you come across that much nowadays. So I loved getting to know Megan. I know we're gonna have a friendship outside of this, and I can't wait till we all get together because she's been talking about getting the snacks ready, and I'm ready to get some snacks, girl.
I want snacks. I love Megan so much. I feel like she gives off very like mama bear energy for some reason, and like she just makes you feel comfortable. And it's like it feels relaxing because talking to her almost felt like we were just like talking and there was no game happening while we were talking. So it was kind of nice to like take a break from the game sometimes and just talk to Megan. So I loved her and I'm really proud of her that she made it to, all the way to fifth place in her first Big Brother game, which is so fucking impressive. So like kudos to you. You should be proud of yourself.
Absolutely.
And last but not least, the girl with the rounded foot, Amy.
Queen.
I guess I'll go first. I I really did love Amy this season. The beginning of this game, night one, when we had to send our lists in, after my conversation with Amy, I ranked Amy number one, night one on our list. Okay, she likes Amy too. But I loved getting to know Amy. We had a little bit of a little misstep in the middle of the game, but I would say the beginning in the game and the end of the game, I felt very, very good personally with Amy. And I know that we're going to talk after this. She's a literal icon.
I loved Amy in this game. She literally, the moment that I saved her with the veto in like round three when she was the third nom, she was like wanting to be my best friend, and I loved it because I talked to her all the fucking time. Like outside of the cruise crew, she was probably one of my closest allies, I would say. And she was so much smarter than she let on. If she had had more time for this game, she would have probably been running circles around all of us because she showed in a lot of the competitions that she was a fierce competitor. And she made it all the way to fucking Final Four, even though she was like saying that she was busy all the time. And she had so many things happening to her, like the flooding and the power outages and staying at hotels and traveling. And yeah,
I know she was. I know she's told me, and she probably told you guys that she felt disappointed in the way that she played the game. But I don't think she needs to feel disappointed. I think she still rocked this. So
I think if she had been sitting in this finale, she would have had a chance of winning because she played the underdog story that everybody wants to root for. She was on the block 1.5 million times and still made it all the way to Final Four and was never voted out until then. What a story.
No, Amy was like, she was my biggest rival throughout the entire season. Like her and I had this rivalry that was just a lot of fun. And what's really funny is I feel like both of us were very much targeting each other and very much a part of each other not leaving at the same time. Like I feel like even whenever I was on the block, it wouldn't have been the worst thing for me to stay. And I realized that like she is smart enough to realize that she has to have a target on her back to not be perceived as weak, I guess. And like she played it so smart. Like Amy, you scared the hell out of me from early on, and I could not get you out. Like I had to take the shot when I was finally able to take the shot.
Not to interfere, I always say it's the funniest thing that she only found out about BB Disney because she accidentally joined the VL. So I find that to be truly inspiring.
Period.
But you guys did it. You guys made it through the other 14 house guests who were a part of your game, and now it's just you three.
Smiles.
Love them all.
Mm-hmm. This was an amazing class.
all right, girls,
Like,
I'm ready.
top to bottom.
I'm ready for my tribute.
Bye.
Austin Scully was a great addition to this cast. I really enjoyed getting to know him and getting to talk about, his dogs and his partner Blake and
No, but phenomenal cast. One of the best casts I've ever played with, truly.
mhm.
And Prod though. Oh,
No, you're good.
and Prod though. Like Prod killed it too. Like I can't. I've had such a good time this entire game.
Me too. And y'all kept me on my toes. I'm playing a lot of these fucking games, and I always was like, ooh, I think this is gonna be the comp. And it was never the comp. Not once.
Let's not talk about toes after last night's comp.
Hopefully y'all don't have to balance cups before you do the like days or something tomorrow.
I can't do it.
I will say though, congratulations all of you guys to Final Three. 2 of you guys are absolutely amazing, and I am so happy to have had you guys here. Good luck with the rest.
Two. Which two?
No, I'm kidding. You guys are all great. Thank you guys so much for the games you guys have played, for sticking it out with Prod. We have not had the smoothest ride, but thank you guys for coming along with us on it. With that in mind, I'm going to stop the recording.